No. So in this last session, we have discussed about how can we create a custom application and how can we customize those options inside that app launcher we have discussed. Because whenever we are creating a new custom application, that a custom application name will be getting added at the end of the list of those application names inside that app launcher. So now this is called as that app launcher, where whatever the application is given by the Salesforce to you by default as a standard applications, like a sales, call center, marketing, and then at the end of that place, it will be adding your application name. So that when we click on that application name, then automatically we'll be jumping into that new application which we have created. If you want to customize those names, nothing but if you want to customize those order of those application names inside the app launcher, and we have discussed about those options also. Now, so now let's see how can we create our own custom application. One more where I would like to use my own image as a logo. By default, whenever you are going to be creating a custom application, for every application, you will be having this logo part. So we'll be having this logo, but by default, Salesforce is providing its own logo for every application, for every custom application, which you have created. But I don't want to use this Salesforce provided logo. I want to use my own image as a logo for this application. So then how can we implement our own custom application by adding our own logo? Now, so first of all, we have to prepare an image which can be used as the logo for your application. And then the second step is we need to upload that image into our Salesforce instance. Because whatever the images or whatever the pictures, whatever the audio or the video files or anything which you are using as part of your application development, everything has to be get resides inside your Salesforce instance. If you are placing those images inside your local system, at that time, if you are accessing that application from your local system, then you can able to reference that image from your local desktop. But if you are accessing the same application from a different system, at that time it cannot reference to that image which is available in your local desktop. So for that, always we have to upload those images into our local Salesforce instance. So for that here, we have to use a object called as documents object. Salesforce is providing a standard object called as document object where we can able to upload all those images, pictures, everything inside that, which we are going to be utilizing in the entire Salesforce instance as part of that application development. Now, so then how can we use those images? How can we upload those images into the documents folder? We'll see practically. And then how can we reference that image while creating your custom Salesforce application? We'll see practically now. Now, let's take a sample example. So now I would like to create an image. I would like to create an application. My use case is create a custom application. I want to create an application with the name some talent management. Okay, talent management. In order to automate the whole the human resource processes, I would like to use this application, talent management, or a talent acquisition, or whatever, or human resource processes, or whatever, anything. I want to develop an application with the name talent management by adding a custom image as the logo for the application. As a logo for the application. So now this is my use case now. Now you are aware of how to create a custom application as of now. In yesterday's session, we have discussed how to create a custom application. But now the additional option is I need to use an image as the logo for my application. So but yesterday's session, we have discussed about creating a custom application by using the Salesforce image as the logo. But now I don't want to use Salesforce logo. I want to use my own customized logo, which we have designed by my web designer or anybody. So now, how can we use that image? Now we'll see here. So now as an implementation steps. The first step is we have to get the image into our local system. And the second step is upload the image into Salesforce instance. That is upload into documents folder. And the third step is create the custom application by referencing the image. By referencing the image as the logo. So now these are the three steps that we need to implement here. So now first of all, we need an image, so that we haven't designed any image as of now, so that I would like to download any of the image from my internet. Now let's see. I want to download an image here. Let's go to that internet and we can download an image from the Google Images. Let's go to that Google Images. Inside that, you will be having so many resources are available inside that. I would like to download a resource, nothing but a small image which is associated with the talent management. Talent management image icon. So now I would like to download an image here. So we are having so many images are available inside this Google which are related to the talent management. Now we are having so many images are available here. So now from this one we can able to take any of the image in order to use it as a logo for our custom application. So now I would like to download that image, any of the image now. So now for example here I would like to use this first image which is available inside that. So now this is the image I would like to use right now, that is talent management. Now I'm downloading this image. Save this image as onto my desktop. Now I'm giving the name as talent management logo. I'm saving this image onto my desktop. Now the image is available to me now. So now once the image has been downloaded or available into your local system, then we have to upload that image into our Salesforce instance. Then how can we upload that image into the Salesforce instance? Then now we will see that here. So now the image is available to us. Okay, get the image into our local system. Now we are done with this step. The second step is upload the image into your Salesforce instance, nothing but that is into the documents folder. So now for that, how can we upload this one? What is the navigation steps? Now we will see. So now when coming to the documents, documents is a standard object given by Salesforce where we can able to upload the resources which we are using inside our Salesforce instance. So what kind of resources, like as some images, like as some pictures, like as some folders, all these things we can able to upload inside this documents folder. Now make a note of it. Documents tab. Documents is a standard object provided by Salesforce to store all the resources used inside the Salesforce application development. Like images, pictures, folders, .zip files, etc. What are the resources that we are using as part of your application development? All those images we have to place inside a folder called as Documents tab. Now, we have to add that tab onto that tab bar. So now for the first step is add the documents tab on the tab bar by using customize my tabs button. So now by using that customize my tab buttons, we can able to add that tab onto the tab bar. So now once we have added the tab onto the tab bar, like as accounts, contacts, opportunities, we are adding the documents tab also on that. So now inside that we can able to place some images. Document is nothing but an object where we can able to store all our resources. Like as images, pictures, everything we can store. But at that time, whenever you are going to be giving or uploading an image into the document tab or the object, then it will be converting that image into the binary format, and that binary format of content will be storing inside that column. So now when coming to the document tab, it will be storing those objects in terms of the binary format. Nothing but the data type of that column is block. Nothing but binary large objects. Now, so now okay, I would like to upload that image into that documents folder. Then how can we upload? Now we will see. Click on documents tab. Click on new button to upload a new image into the object. Enter the image name, label, select the checkbox, externally available this image, and the sixth step, enter the description for the image, enter the search keyword. Here this is an optional. You may enter, you may not enter. Select the image from the local folder by using browse button or choose file button.
Firoz, I have a question, Firoz.
Yeah.
Not to you, but the rest of the class. Like, do we need to have detailed writing, everybody? Because I mean, like, we as a most of us, we already, have a lot of experience. This is my personal experience. Do you guys want Firoz to write all those, or just explain and we can go back and see? I don't know whether team. Hello?
Yeah, guys.
Because I'm giving my opinion, Firoz. You just show us, explain, then I think we could get, because we could cover a lot more.
Yeah, sure. That's what. So if everybody is fine for me, so I will share that document so that everything will be there inside that.
Firoz, it's a mixed group, right? Not everybody is experienced. Like, some of us are experienced, we do it on a daily basis, but there might be others who are not experienced, they're seeing it for the first time. So I'm thinking it's for you to make that call. We are fine either ways, but then it's for you, because I don't know, it's a mixed bag, right? Like, we have experienced people, we have not so experienced people, we have middle level people. So.
Yeah, I'm just asking, that's it. Sorry, don't mind, I'm asking, because I feel like this is like spoon feeding for people who already, but I'm fine with either way. I'm just giving an opinion for 1 minute. That's it.
If I mean we have any other recorded this information, then I mean we are okay. But then
Sure.
for future reference, if we would need it somehow. I feel.
I have documented everything over there because I'm going to share a document so that inside that document we can able to go through all these things. I will be sharing a document regarding this as well.
Okay, then in that case, Firoz, you don't need to write. Just explain, and we can cover a lot if you are explaining, and we try because this is my opinion. Sorry to say, but I'm either fine with anything what the team decides.
Okay. So initially for till this week we will go through with this navigation because so that the people will feel comfortable. Okay, from the next week we will be going with that exam, the practical part.
Okay, that's fine.
Now,
if we have problems with the navigations, then we will let you know, Feroz. Then at that time you can give the navigation details.
navigation regarding I will provide the document. See, let me show you a document regarding this. So now we have documented everything clearly inside this. Okay, creating the custom objects in Salesforce. What are those objects? And then the how to create that applications and what exactly the 18 characters ID and how can we query that, the navigation part, and then creating the custom objects, the complete navigation along with the screenshots and everything I have documented inside this. So I'm going to be sharing these documents also to you so that we can able to go through these ones.
Yeah. So this is crystal clear.
So now enabling that collapsible sidebar, the complete navigation, everything I have documented over here.
That is fine, Feroz.
Okay. I will be sharing these documents also to you inside the drive because once we're done with the concept, then we will be sharing those documents to you. So for initially for the till this week, we will go with this navigation process, and then the later on you feel comfortable, then we will be going directly with the practical part without these navigations.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Now, so now in order to implement this particular functionality, we are going to be uploading that image into that the documents folder. Once you have uploaded that image into the documents folder, from there we can able to reference that image while creating your custom application. Now let's see how can we upload this image into the documents folder. Now we'll see that practical part. So now we are having that image into our local system. The first step is done. And the second step is we need to upload that image into that our Salesforce instance into that documents folder. Then how can we upload? Now we'll see practically. Let's go to your Salesforce instance. So now in our Salesforce instance, we are having so many tabs are available here, but the documents tab is not available. In order to display the documents tab on the tab bar, you are aware of how to add the tabs on the tab bar. So that click on that plus symbol in order to see all the tabs available inside your Salesforce instance. Click on that plus tab, which is indicating all tabs. Now, what are the other tabs are available inside your application, okay, which are not displaying on the tab bar. Now, click on plus symbol, which is indicating all the tabs available inside your Salesforce instance. So now inside that we are having a tab called as documents. Now this is the documents tab. So now we are having this documents tab. Add this documents tab onto your tab bar. In order to add it, we have to go with that the navigation. Nothing but customize my tabs button. You are aware of that already. We have discussed on this. Now customize my tabs button. Now, what are the tabs are available inside your entire Salesforce instance will be listed out over here in the available tabs. And then what tabs are currently displaying on the tab bar also it is displaying inside that selected tabs list. Now, along with these tabs, I want to show one more tab also, that is Documents tab. So now we are having the Documents tab inside that available tabs list, and add this tab onto your tab bar. Now, I have added this Documents tab also on the tab bar. Now let's save this. Now, this Documents tab is also available to you on the tab bar. Now, along with that, all the tabs which we have displayed as of now the Documents tab is also visible. So now Documents tab is used to store all the images and the pictures which are using as part of our Salesforce application. Now click on that Documents tab. There is no images available as of now. This Documents tab is empty right now. Now I want to add an image inside this Documents tab. Now click on that New button in order to add that. Specify the document label and the document name, and then I'm giving that name as Talent Management Logo. So now I'm giving the document name as Talent Management Logo, and then unique name will be getting prepared automatically for you. Okay, a unique name will be getting prepared automatically. So now you will be having a checkbox called as externally available this image. Nothing but whatever the image that you are going to be uploading inside this particular folder with the name Talent Management Logo, this image can be accessible by every user available inside your Salesforce organization. He may be a partner, he may be a customer, everybody can able to see that image. So now I would like to make this image to be available to all the users inside your Salesforce organization, so that I'm making it as externally available this image. Now select the checkbox externally available this image, and then give some description for that. It's not mandatory, but you may give that. If you want, you can provide. Because in future, if you want to know why we have added this image, what is the purpose, then we can able to specify, we can able to get this description. So that as a best practice, we have to give some comment, or we have to give some description for each and every feature which we are implementing inside this Salesforce. So which can be referencing in future, not only by ourselves, some other people also can able to go through this one. Now, so now after that, select that image, nothing but the file. So now whenever if you want to upload that image into the documents folder, you will be having two options are there. One is the choose file, second one is the specify the path or the URL. If the image is available inside your local system, then use the choose file in order to select that image from your local system. Or if the image is available in the internet, then if you want to dump directly from internet to your Salesforce, then specify the URL inside this text box. Then whatever the path that you have specified, when you click on save button, it will be referencing that particular URL at the path, and from that path it will get that image will be getting uploading into this documents folder. So now for that you may use choose file, or you may use that path or the URL of that image where exactly it is available in the internet. So now that image is available into my local system, so that I would like to reference that. Now go to that choose file. Now select your image from the location where exactly you have saved that image. So now we have saved that image with the name Talent Management Logo. Now this is the image which we have downloaded onto my local system. Now let's select that image. We have selected that image, Talent Management Logo. Okay, Talent Management Logo. Now Talent Management Logo, we have selected that. Now click on save button. Then automatically the image will be getting uploading into this documents folder. It will be creating like as a new record. Whatever the image that you have selected, that image will be uploading into that documents folder, and you can able to reference this image anywhere inside your entire Salesforce application development. Wherever you want, you can able to reference that. Now, so now here we have uploaded that image into the documents folder right now here. Now, let's create your custom application, and then by referencing this image upon creating a new custom application during that insert image option. Now, so let's go to that creating a new custom application. You are aware of that navigation. Yesterday we have discussed about the navigation process to create a new custom application. So now during the creation of this custom application, we have discussed about that. Now let's see. So use this navigation to create your own custom application. Go to the setup menu. Go to the build menu in the left panel. Go to the create. Click on apps. Nothing but I want to create a new custom application. It is populating all the applications which you have created in the past and what are the standard application offered by the Salesforce to you as part of the SaaS. Nothing but the Salesforce CRM application. And if you want to add any more applications, then click on new button to create a new custom application based on your requirement. Click on new button. Select the application type as custom application. I want to create a new custom application. This is the default option has been selected by default for you. Go to the next button. Give that application name. I'm giving that name as talent management. Enter the description. This application is used to automate the human resource processes. Human resource processes following in the organization. So now I have given some description. So now this is the description of my application that I have given that this application is used to automate the human resource processes following in the organization. So now specifying the description is an optional, but as a best practice, it's not a mandatory option, it's not a rule, but as a best practice inside that organization, whenever you are modifying the code, whenever you are writing some code, whenever you are adding some new feature, please give a proper description so that other people and ourselves also can understand in future, because we cannot able to remember all the things always. So now sometimes we are unable to remember our bank account number which we are using to get the salary since almost 4 years. So the 10-digit number we cannot able to remember, so that the feature which we have implemented 2 months back or 2 years back, we cannot remember, we cannot recollect all this information. So that here, as a best practice, it is recommended to give a proper description and the comment for each and every feature which we are going to implement. So now, give the description and click on next button in order to go ahead. So now this is the part, this is the exact place where we need to select that image. So now here, choose the image source for that your custom application logo. Now, do you want to continue with the Salesforce logo which has been offered by the Salesforce by default, or you want to add your own custom logo? Now, I want to use my own custom logo here. So what is that custom logo? Where exactly the custom logo is available here? So now you will be having a button called as Insert in Image button. Click on Insert in Image button. Then automatically it is populating all the images available inside the documents folder. Directly it is referencing the documents folder. In the documents folder, whatever the images are available, all the images will be getting populated to you. So now here we have those images called as the talent management logo is available. I would like to use this image as a logo for my application. Select that image. Now that image will be getting added here. Instead of using that Salesforce logo, I would like to use that talent management logo which we have added inside my Salesforce instance. Now the remaining steps are same as it is, like as creating your custom application. Now go to that next button. Now select that objects which you want to reference inside your custom application. So now I'm adding few objects inside that which we can able to use: accounts, contacts, campaigns and the cases, and the leads and the opportunities. And then I'm going to be adding that solutions also. Now these tabs I'm going to be adding inside that. I would like to use these objects inside my application. I'm going to be customizing these objects, nothing but I'm going to be arranging those objects here in which order you want to show it here inside your application. So now here I have arranged those tabs also. Now inside my application, I want to use these objects like as campaigns, lead, account, contact, opportunity, case, and the solution. These objects I would like to use, so that here I have added those objects inside my new custom application, which is some talent management. So now from these objects, from these tabs, which tab you want to make it the default, so that you can specify the default landing tab inside that. So now we can able to specify the default landing tab inside that. So now I would like to make it as a home tab as the default landing tab. Now go to the next button and make this application to be get visible to all the users inside your Salesforce instance by selecting all these profiles. So now select that visible checkbox in order to make this application to be get visible to all the profile users. I'm selecting that visible checkbox and click on Save button. So now your application will be getting created with the details which we have specified. So now your application name will be getting added at the end of that list. Okay, at the end of the list, your name has been getting added, the application name, that is talent management. But I don't want to show this talent management name at the end of the list. I want to display it after this particular marketing process. So now after that marketing, I would like to show this name talent management. Now let's see. How can we reorder that? Already we have discussed about that. Click on reorder. So now all the applications are available inside this. So now we are having the call center, marketing, story pulse, everything is available, and along with our application called as the talent management. Okay, this is the talent management application which we have added right now. So now just a drag and drop in order to arrange where exactly you want to show this particular application name. After that story pulse, I want to show my name, application name. So now we are having that application call center, marketing, story pulse. After that story pulse, we are going to display that name as the talent management application. So now let's go to your application now. Refresh your application. When you go to that applications list, your talent management application name is also available inside that app launcher. So now click on the talent management. So now you will be redirecting to your application where you will be having all the tabs which we have selected and which are displaying in the same order which we have selected, and along with that it will be providing your own logo also. So now previously we have designed a custom application called as Story Pulse. When coming to the Story Pulse, we haven't added any image, so that here for the Story Pulse it is displaying the Salesforce image by default. So now the default image is the Salesforce image. But now I don't want to use the Salesforce image by default. I would like to use my own image as the logo. For that, select that talent management application which we have designed just now by selecting our own image as the logo. So now here the talent management image will be displayed as a logo for your application. Your application tabs are also available. You can able to perform all the operations whatever you want. Now, so this is a way we can able to design your custom applications where we can able to add our own custom images also here. Now, let's come to that limitation points here.
There was one question.
Yeah.
So you have included that document tab in the Story Pulse application. So is that, I mean, can we include that document tab in any of the application?
Yes. In any of the application we can use, because document object and the account and the contact and everything will be common to all the applications. Because this is a common location where we can able to reference those features in the entire Salesforce application wherever you want.
Okay, thanks.
Now, the limitations part. So what are the various limitations? These limitations in Salesforce are called as governor limits. So what are the limitations given by the Salesforce? These are called as governor limits. Now, when coming to the every interview, you will be having a common question: what is the governor limit and what are the governor limits given by Salesforce? So now each and every feature we are having some limitations are there. Whenever you are going to be writing the code also, then we have to write the code in such a way that we have to keep in mind those governor limits. Why? Because is the Salesforce server which we are using, it's not a dedicated server to us. It's not belongs to a single customer. It's a shared infrastructure offered by Salesforce where all the customers has to utilize that same server. So at that time, if one customer is keep on making that server, Salesforce server busy, then the other customers will be getting impacted. So that here Salesforce has given some governor limits where based on those governor limits only we have to write our code. Now as part of this limitation for your custom applications here. So now when coming to the entry point of view, they will raise a question. So how many custom applications can I create inside my unlimited edition? So do we have any limit, or can we create a number of applications? So now when coming to the applications, in free developer edition, we can have maximum of 10 custom applications. We can create maximum of 10 custom applications. When if it is a free developer edition, not more than that. Maximum of 10 custom applications we can able to create. But if it is a free developer, if it is an unlimited edition, we can create unlimited number of custom applications. So if it is unlimited edition, we can able to have unlimited number of custom applications. So now as part of this application, we are having these limitations here. So now if it is a free developer edition, we can have maximum of 10 custom applications, not more than that. If it is an unlimited edition, we can able to create unlimited number of custom applications. Now, so one more note point here. Whenever you are creating a custom application, we are going to be selecting the logo also. Okay, we are selecting the logo, nothing but the image which we are going to be making as a logo for your application. So at that time, so what will be the size of that particular image? Can I use some 2 MB image or 3 MB image, or do we have any limitation? Now, so for that we are having the limitation. Upon adding an image as a logo for your custom applications, the image size should be maximum of 20 KB, not more than that. The image size should be maximum of 20 KB. This is the limitation given by Salesforce. Now, so now when coming to the application development, or when coming to the interview point of view, governor limits or the limitations are very, very important. So that we have to cross check what features are available, what limitations are available, and how can we go beyond those things. You should be aware of all these things. Now, so now these are the limitations are available when coming to the application side. So now we can have 10 custom applications in free developer edition, and we can have unlimited number of custom applications in unlimited edition, and then it may be unlimited edition, it may be free developer edition, it may be anything. Whenever you are going to be creating an application, if you are using any image as the logo for your application, that image size should be maximum of 20 KB, not more than that. This is the limitation. Okay.
Firoz,
Yeah.
is it I mean, the total size is 20 KB or per app logo is 20 KB?
Only logo, only that particular logo which you are going to be selecting, that should be 20 KB.
No, but then I can have 10 applications, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, that individual application has different logo, for example.
Yes, yes.
Then I can have individually, I can have 20 KB, right? Not together.
Not together, it's an independent. Look as here,
Oh.
you can have 10 applications and 10 images, you can use that. For every application, a different image.
Okay.
Now, so now we have created our own custom applications right now here. Like we have created the talent management application, and then we have created our own application, one more called as Story Pulse application. Now, so now these are the 2 custom applications which we have created right now here. So now inside these applications, we are having so many tabs are available. Okay, nothing but so many objects also we have selected inside this. Now let's see the new feature, next feature available inside these applications here. Now, the next feature is we are going to be discussing about these objects now. objects in Salesforce. So what exactly the objects? What is the use of an object? What it represents? What it contains? What are the various types of objects available in Salesforce? And how can we differentiate those objects? What are the differences between those objects types? Now we'll see practically. So now, as of now, we have created our own custom application. Once you have created your custom application, then we can able to add your own objects also. So now when coming to the Salesforce is providing a set of objects to you. Object means what? A table. Each and every object is representing a table internally in the database.com. So now the table will be holding the actual records which you are creating by using this user interfaces given by the Salesforce to you. Now, in order to provide that user interfaces, Salesforce is providing a tab to you where the tab is associated with that particular object. So now each and every object will be having a tab, and then the tab is providing the graphical user interfaces in order to manage the records inside that associated object. So now what are the various types of objects available in Salesforce? And then how can we create our own custom objects? We'll see practically here. Now objects. So now object means what? A table. Object represents a table in Salesforce where exactly the records will get resides. Object represents a table in Salesforce where exactly the records will get resides. So what are the records you are going to create? All those records will be getting resides inside those objects itself. Now, each object will be associated with a table. Each object is associated with a table. So now, the object name and the table name both will be exactly same. So where we have discussed about that. In the previous session, we have discussed that when coming to the objects names. So now we have an object. So now this is like as account, contact, opportunity, case, solution, lead, campaign, other. Like that, so many objects are available in Salesforce. For each and every object, Salesforce is providing a tab also. Nothing but it is providing a graphical user interface, which will be having with the name called as a plural name of the same, like as an object. Object name is account, tab name is accounts. Nothing but here by using this graphical user interface, not only managing one record, we can able to manage multiple records also, so that they have given that notation, they're following that coding standard where they have given the tab name as a plural name, object name as a singular name. So now every object is associated with a table internally. It contains a table internally. So now that object name and the table name both will be exactly same, where for each and every object, Salesforce is going to be allocating one ID also, which is a 3-character alphanumerical number, which is describing the schema of that object. Now, let's see here. When coming to the objects here. So now when coming to the Salesforce, we are having two types of objects are available. Okay, we have two types of objects. Salesforce provides two types of objects. One is the standard objects, and the second one is the custom objects. So now what do you mean by this standard objects? What do you mean by these custom objects? Standard means ready-made, nothing but built-in, which are given by the Salesforce to you by default as part of that Salesforce CRM application development. So as part of that Salesforce CRM, Salesforce people has built a set of ready-made objects and which they have used to store the CRM related data, the customer related data, the lead related data, the campaign related data, accounts related data, opportunities related data, cases related data, everything. In order to store that data, they have created few tables. Nothing but those tables are referenced as objects in Salesforce. Now, they have created a few standard objects to you. They have created some ready-made objects to you and which are available to you by default because you are also one of the customer who are utilizing the Salesforce services. It may be on free of cost, it may be based on the licenses also. So now whenever you are going to be the member of that application or the part of that Salesforce CRM application, then you will be having the access to each and every feature of that Salesforce CRM application. In that Salesforce CRM application, you are having all these objects so that you will be having the access on these objects also. Now, so now by default, Salesforce is providing some set of ready-made objects to you. Those are called as standard objects given by Salesforce. So now what are the various standard objects given by Salesforce right now? Now, these are the ready-made or the built-in objects given by Salesforce as part of Salesforce CRM application. As part of Salesforce CRM application. Now, so now we have the below standard objects. We have the below standard objects like as account, contact, opportunity, case, campaign, lead, solution, product, price book, performance cycle, goal, feedback, feedback request, metric, macro, etc. Along with that, you will be having task, event, etc. So many objects are given by the Salesforce to you as part of these standard objects. Now, standard objects means these are the ready-made objects given by the Salesforce to you. So now, while developing the Salesforce CRM application by the Salesforce people, they have developed these objects, and now you are accessing that Salesforce CRM application so that you need to have the access on these objects also, which are part of that Salesforce CRM. So now, whatever the standard objects are given by Salesforce, everything will be getting visible to you because you are the member of that Salesforce CRM application so that we can able to access each and every object. Now, so now when coming to the standard objects here, whenever you are going to be using those standard objects, you can able to list out those standard objects here, where exactly the standard objects are available and how to see those standard objects structure, everything we'll see practically here. Now, so now whenever you are going to be building your own application, not only using the standard objects, there might be some situations where we need to go beyond those. We need some more custom objects also, which are not available ready-made. I want to store my bank account details because here, when coming to the Salesforce is not only offering the Salesforce CRM application, they're providing the Force.com platform also. They have given the provision to us that not only using the Salesforce CRM features, we can able to customize the existing Salesforce CRM application by adding some more new features, by leveraging the functionality, or you can able to build everything by your own, by using your own custom applications. Nothing but we can use the standard Salesforce CRM applications, or we can able to build your own custom application also. So now assume that I have developed a custom application called as some talent management. There, I don't want to use any account, contact, opportunity. I don't want to use anything. I want my own. So now in that talent management, I would like to store some different information, like as my recruiters information, my open positions information. I want to store my candidates information who has applied for the position. I want to store some interview statuses information. And like that here, I would like to store some different data, but these objects are not available in Salesforce by default. So at that time, they have given the provision to us that not only using the standard objects, we can able to create our own custom objects also based on our need. So now for that, Salesforce is giving that flexibility to you that we can able to create our own custom objects. Then what exactly these custom objects here? So now when we can go for these custom objects? So now custom objects are nothing but what? Custom objects are nothing but the tables which are creating by us, nothing but the developers or the administrator of the organization of that application is going to be creating the tables where we can able to store some specific data related to my application. So related to my banking, I want to store my customers information, like as I need a customer table. I need to store some the transactions details, so that I need to store some transaction table is required. So now I want to store some the check the information details. I want to store some to a separate table. Like that here for the finance, I want some different set of tables. For the manufacturing, I want some different set of tables. For the construction, I want some different set of tables. So that here they have given that flexibility, not only creating your own custom application. If it requires to add your own tables, then we can able to create your own tables also by using these custom objects. Now, custom objects are nothing but the custom tables which will be creating by the developer or the administrator. Only the developer people and the Salesforce administrator people will be having the rights to develop those objects, nothing but creating those custom objects. The remaining people just they can able to use it. They cannot perform any operation outside that. They cannot create any more tables. They cannot modify any tables. They cannot delete those tables from that objects. Now, so now when coming to the custom objects here. Upon customizing the Salesforce application, we can create our own custom objects also based on the need. Okay, based on the need. Not only using the standard objects, we can able to create our own custom objects. Now, custom objects will be created by the Salesforce developers or the Salesforce administrator. The remaining people are not having the access to design and to modify the structure of an object here. Now, so now when coming to the custom objects here, whatever the standard objects given by the Salesforce, whatever the custom objects we are going to be creating, both combinedly called as S objects. Okay, both combinedly called as S objects. Now, make a note. Combination of both standard and custom objects are called as S objects. S objects means Salesforce objects. So nothing but these are the Salesforce objects which we have inside your application. So now it may be the combination of standard and the custom objects, both will be combinedly called as the S objects here. Now, so now when coming to the limitations here, come to the limitations. How many custom objects we can able to have? Nothing but how many custom tables we can able to have inside our free developer edition, inside our unlimited edition. Now, so now in free developer edition, we can have maximum of 400 custom objects. In free developer edition, we can have maximum of 400 custom objects, nothing but 400 tables we can create. That much flexibility given by the Salesforce team. So now generally when you go to the real-time implementation, like it may be finance management process, it may be insurance management process, we may be having maximum of 200 to 250 objects, nothing but 250 tables. So which will be treating like as a very big implementation. But Salesforce has given the flexibility in a free developer edition itself, we can able to create a maximum of 400 custom tables, nothing but see how much a big application we can implement with the help of free developer edition itself. So now when coming to the Salesforce, if it is a free developer edition, we can able to have maximum of 400 custom objects. And if it is the unlimited edition, now we will see. In unlimited edition, we can have maximum of 2000 custom objects. Nothing but custom objects means the custom tables. Nothing but the data model we can able to design that. So now here we are having maximum of 2000 custom objects in our free developer, sorry, in the unlimited edition. If it is a free developer edition,
And
you can have 400.
because this, like each time this can be changed, the Salesforce is changing this the limit every time, right? So I mean, like we need to be careful. I mean, like we need to see that one too, right? Now, like winter edition, there are a lot of changes with us.
Yes, yes. In winter edition, there are a lot of changes are there, but the objects changes will be very, very rare. In each and every
Okay,
case,
okay.
they won't give the extension of these objects. The remaining features they will be adding to you, but these objects will be fixed. But if the
Okay.
customers, based on that customers' ideas, nothing but the ideas raised by the different customers and their votings, then they will be changing. They are going to be increasing this number of custom objects. It may be for 2 years or 3 years once. Okay. Now, so now we will see how can we create our own custom objects here. So now for each and every custom object, we need a tab also. Nothing but creating a table. Whenever you are creating a table, what happened? We need to define some certain columns inside that. Now, when coming to the tables here, upon creating a table, the table will be having some certain columns, which will not be having any records inside that. Once the table has been getting created, then the time to create some records inside that. Then how can we create the records inside that? For that, we need some graphical user interface. So now as a programmer, as a developer, we know how to insert the record through programmatically, but this application is not for ourselves. This application is going to be using by our end users, our partners, our customers, everybody. So that those people are not aware of the Apex programming. Those people are not the technical guys. So that we have to provide some user-friendly interface so that those people can able to use those user interfaces to manage the records inside that. It may be to insert, it may be to modify, it may be to delete those records available inside that object. Now, so now let's see how can we create our own custom object now practically. So now as we have discussed, for each and every object, Salesforce is providing a tab to you, where the tab is nothing but a graphical user interface by which we can able to manage the records inside that associated object. So now you want to provide the tab for that or you don't want to provide the tab for that. It is up to you, depends upon our need. Now, for example here. So let's see how to create a custom object inside our Salesforce instance. Creating the custom object. So then how can we create this custom object in Salesforce? Now we will see practically. So now creating the custom object means creating a custom table where we can able to store some user specific data or application specific data. So now let's see here. I want to create a table, nothing but an object, custom object I want to create. Now, how can we create that custom object? Now we'll see practically. Here I will show you two options again here. Two scenarios will be came into the picture. While creating the table, I want that graphical user interface also along with the table so that I can able to use that graphical user interface to manage the records inside that. Or I need only the table, that's it. I don't want any user interfaces. I would like to manage those records manually here. Through programmatically, I would like to manage that. Or else my application inside that I have written some code which will be interacting with my table directly. It can able to perform some operations inside my table directly. So now it's up to you, depends upon our need, depends upon the business requirement. You may need the user interface or you may not need that user interface. We'll see both those scenarios practically here. Now let's see how can we create our own custom objects in Salesforce. Now, creating custom object is nothing but creating a custom table in Salesforce application. Where the user can store application specific data. Where the user can store the application specific data. It may be banking related, it may be finance related, or whatever. Now, so now I would like to create a table right now here. So now I want to create a table with the name some customer. Now, let's see. So now how can we create that object in Salesforce? Now we'll see that navigation process. For that, go to the setup menu and click on it. And go to the left panel in the build menu. Go to build menu in left panel. Click on create option and expand it. Click on objects. Click on objects link. So now already you are aware of this navigation here. Now you can go to that setup menu, build menu in the left panel, and then click on create, and then after that we have click on apps. Nothing but we have created our own custom applications. Now we are discussing about how can we create our own custom objects, so that now below that apps, in that same options, you will be having one option called as objects. Now click on that objects link. So now as soon as when you click on objects link, it is populating all the custom objects which we have created in the past. If you haven't created any custom objects, then it will be displaying that this as empty. If you want to create a new custom object, then click on a button. Click on new custom object button to create a new object. To create a new object. Now, so now once you click on that new custom object button, then it will provide a graphical user interface to provide that object name, nothing but the table name. Enter the object label and the name. For example, I'm giving that object label as some customer. And then name also I'm giving like as some customer. Enter the description for the object. So now I'm giving some description. This object is used to store all customer details. And then, so now once you enter that object details, nothing but the description and the name and that the label, then so now go to the optional features section. And then you will be having the 4 checkboxes. Select the checkbox, allow reports. So now here what exactly this allow reports checkbox here. Whenever you are going to be selecting this particular checkbox, then in future Salesforce will allow you to generate some reports based on the records available inside this table. Suppose for example here, assume that I have some lead object, nothing but the lead table. Every day we are getting some new lead records information, nothing but some people are showing interest in our products or the services. Those persons are nothing but the leads. Those persons information we are storing inside our lead object. As soon as the leads information are available inside my lead object, as a salesperson, we are going to be contacting those leads based on their contact details, and then we are going to be convincing the lead to buy our product, and finally we are converting those leads as our customers. So now in this kind of scenario, every week or every day, I want to give some status update to my manager. He may be my sales manager, he may be my sales head, that these many number of leads we have received in this way or in this week. These many number of leads we have contacted. These many number of leads we are following up right now. These many number of leads we have converted as our customers. And these many number of leads we are unable to convert because those people are not at all interested with our product. These many number of lead people we are unable to reach on their contact details. Like that, we have to give some status update in terms of some reports. So now at that time, based on the data available inside this object, if you want to generate any reports in future, then we have to select the checkbox allow reports. Whenever you are selecting that allow reports checkbox at the time of creating a custom object, then only Salesforce will allow you to generate some reports in future on the data available inside this object. So whatever the records you are storing in future in that customer table, we can able to generate some reports also in future. Then only it will be allowing if you are selecting that allow reports checkbox. If this checkbox is not selected, then you cannot generate any reports inside that. Now, the second option. Select the checkbox, allow activities. So now what exactly the allow activities here? What is the use of these allow activities? So now activity means what here? Generally, activity means
CRUD operation?
okay. It may be a CRUD operation or it may be anything. Now suppose for example here, assume that so now I'm a salesperson. I'm a salesperson. So now we got a lead record. Okay, we got a lead record. And today morning at 9 o'clock, I have contacted the lead. I have contacted the lead. As soon as when I made a call to the lead, then during the time this person is traveling, so that immediately he has picked up my call. He told me that I'm in traffic right now. Please call me after half an hour, or please call me after the 1 hour. So now then what needs to be done as a responsible person, as a salesperson, then keep on, we need to follow up with those lead persons so that we can able to convert that lead as a customer. So now for that what needs to be done, we have to make a call after one hour. Because the lead person asked me to make a call after 1 hour. So now at that time, I'm busy with some my personal work. I'm busy with some other lead conversion processes also, so that I maybe forgot to make a call to the person. So now at that time, we'll be losing one lead. We will be losing one customer also. So for that, what I want to do is, I want to make a note. Okay, I want to make a note. So where inside my notebook is available. I'm maintaining a notebook. Inside that notebook, I would like to make a note that we need to make a call to the lead person at 10 o'clock. So now in this kind of scenario here, whenever you are doing some work, then at that time, keep on, we have to verify into your notebook nothing but what activities that are pending from my side, what activities that I need to complete. So now here, based on that time, we have to make a call here. So now, if I'm busy with my some personal work or nothing, but if I'm busy with some other work, my system work, then at that time, I cannot able to look into my notebook also here. So that at that time, I maybe forgot to make a call to the person at 10 o'clock. So now for that here, what I want to do is, I want to add a reminder inside my Salesforce system itself. Okay, I want to add a reminder inside my Salesforce system itself, so that it can keep on reminding me that we need to make a call to the contact person, nothing but the lead person at 10 o'clock. So like as suppose for example, generally the same situation is going to be happening in the real world also. For example here, assume that I'm staying in some Hyderabad. So now I'm staying in some Kukatpalli. So now I have joined a course which is some Oracle course in some Amirpet. Okay, in Amirpet. So now my course timing is at morning some 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock to morning 8:30 a.m. This is my class timings here. So now if I want to attend my session at 7 o'clock, then from Kukatpalli I have to start it by 6:30 in the morning. 6:30 a.m. I have to start over here. If you want to start by 6:30, then I have to be get ready by 6:20 a.m. You have to be get ready by 6:20 a.m. If you want to get ready by 6:20 a.m., then you have to wake up by 5:30 a.m. in the morning. If you want to wake up by 5:30 a.m. in the morning, then you have to put the alarm at by 3 o'clock. Okay, because the people won't wake up at the first ringing itself, so that we are giving that the alarm at 3 o'clock, keep on snoozing by finally they will be wake up by 5:30 in the morning, so that they will be get ready by 6:20. They can start by 6:30, they can reach by 7 o'clock, they can attend the session, they can go back here. Nothing but what happened, we are going to be putting some alarms in our mobiles because for the reminder, nothing but there is a class is there at 7 o'clock. Please wake up, please wake up, please wake up. Like the same way, this is nothing but one activity here. Okay, this is nothing but an activity. So now which is going to be keep on reminding you because you may be forgot. Okay, you may be forgot about that activity, but this is keep on reminding you. So now in this kind of scenario here, if you want to add some more activities inside your Salesforce instance, then we are going to be using the checkbox called as allow activities. So now as a employees inside our organization, you will be having two activities are available here. So now as soon as whenever every day you are going to the office, then your manager is going to be allocating some task to you. Okay, they are going to be allocating some task to you. So now it may be development related task, it may be the admin related task, it may be the testing related task or whatever. They're allocating some task to you which we need to complete by the today or tomorrow or day after tomorrow, whatever the deadline or whatever the time milestone they have given to you. So now if it is a task, then what will be the time? Suppose for example, my manager has given the time till this weekend. Till this weekend. So now here when coming to the task, we can able to complete by today itself or tomorrow or day after tomorrow or till this weekend we can able to complete the task. There is no specific timing is there. But sometimes here every day I'm having a client call. I'm having a client call for the status update. So at that time, the client call is 7:30 p.m. in the evening or 7 p.m. in the evening, 7:30 p.m. to some 8 p.m. in the evening. So now at that time, when can you need to attend this meeting? At any point of time or during that meeting timings itself, during that meeting timings. Nothing but what happened when coming to the activities, we are having two types of activities are there. One is the task and the second one is an event. Okay, event. Nothing but a meeting or a conference or whatever. So now if it is a task, then they have given some time to you, like as it may be they have given some 8 hours or 2 days or time they have given. You can complete the task at any point of time. Now itself, or after 1 hour, after 2 hours, or within 2 days, at any point of time, you can complete that. But if it is a meeting, based on that specific timings only, we have to attend that. So now, if you want to add these kind of activities like as a task or the event, then we are going to be selecting the checkbox called as allow activities. Nothing but these activities are going to be keep on reminding you that you are having a meeting with the customer at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or you need to make a call to that person, or you have to go for the meeting. Okay, you have to make a call to some other persons. You have to send an email notification like that. Here, keep on. It will be keep on reminding you. So for that, we can able to add those activities also. Now, the third one. The third checkbox is select the checkbox allow field history tracking. Allow field history tracking. So what exactly the field history tracking here? Assume that I have created a table, nothing but an object. So now this is my object available here. So now in this object, I'm storing some information about that loan application forms. So now in this table, I'm having that application ID, application number, loan application number, and then the name of the customer who has applied for that loan, what is the loan amount, and the documents, what are the documents are required, all the documents has been submitted or not. Now whether he is a customer or whether he is a new person who has applied for the loan, and then status, loan approval status. So now these are the various columns that I have mentioned inside my table here. Now let's assume that I have stored one person has been applied for the loan. Now his loan application number is some 10001. So now assume that the person name is some Ramesh. Now the amount is some 5 lakhs. And he has submitted all the documents which are required to apply for the loan application form. He is a customer of our organization, so that I'm specifying he is a customer, he is yes. Now loan application here. So now as a bank manager, I'm going to be responsible person to apply for the loan, to approve for the loan, or I may reject that loan also here. Whenever if I'm going to be approving the loan, there might be so many criteria will be came into the picture. I need to cross-check so many criteria. Like now, since how long time he is utilizing our bank services, how efficiently he is utilizing our bank services, whether he took any loans in the past or not. If he took the loans, then what is his credibility? Okay, now how frequently he has paid that EMIs, and then what is his CIBIL score? Everything I need to cross-check that. Based on that, we need to approve or we need to reject that. So now, as a bank manager, I have rejected that loan application here. Okay, I have rejected that because his credibility is not good and the CIBIL score is very, very less. So that I have rejected that. So now in this kind of scenario here, so now yesterday night I have rejected that. When today morning, whenever I have observed this particular record, it is giving the status as approved. It is giving the status as approved. So now as a bank person, I am the responsible person to the other people. I am having some more higher authorities are also there. To those people, I will be the responsible person. In future, if they ask, now his credibility is not good, then why should you have approved this loan application form? Then we have to give some proper explanation. So, but actually I did not approve that, I have rejected that. But somebody has approved this loan application form, then who did this? I want to cross-check that information. So who did that particular loan application has been approved, when they have approved, why they have approved, everything I would like to cross-check. So that I need a tracking mechanism. Whenever you are having some applications, inside those applications, we are having few fields are available like as a status field, which are playing very major role, which are playing very key role inside that application. Based on that, we are going to be deciding whether we can go ahead or we can able to stop the process. So now at that time, whatever the important fields are there, what are the key roles are available, nothing but the fields are there, we need to make an eye on that so that we can able to keep on tracking who has modified those fields and when they have modified, why they have modified, everything we can able to track inside that. So now in this kind of scenario, if you want to cross-check, if you want to track those field history, nothing but when they have modified, who has modified, why they have modified, what is the old value, what is the new value, everything we can able to track inside that. So for that, we need to allow this option inside my object by selecting the checkbox called as allow field history tracking. Nothing but whatever the fields are available, we can able to track those field history also. Like for example here, we are having some documentation. For every application, we are having some BRS document, SRS documents are available here. So now for those documents, we are going to maintaining some draft, nothing but the draft versions. What is the initial draft? Who has created that? When we have added some more features, everything we are going to be adding that modified by, when they have modified, who has modified, what features are included, everything we are going to be making a history of the document also. So now like the same way, when coming to your object also, if you're having any custom fields, if you want to modify, if you want to track those fields information, then we can able to select the checkbox allow field history tracking. And the next one, the next option is select the checkbox allow in charter groups. So now Salesforce is providing a charter facility. Inside that charter facility, we can able to include those record fields also. Whenever you are going to be modifying some field values, then automatically it is going to be including inside that charter posting so that we can able to post this information to the other people also. So now this is the 7th step inside that. We have to select those checkboxes. One is the allow reports, second one is allow activities, and the third one is the allow field history tracking, and the fourth one is allow in charter groups. And the next one, select the deployment status. Select the deployment status of the object. For the deployment status, you will be having two options. One is in development. Second one is deployed. Two options are available here. So what exactly is in development? What exactly is deployed? So now in development means this object still I am working on to build this object, nothing but the table we are preparing right now. So that here the table creation is not yet completed, so that this table should not be get visible to the users. Nothing but this table is not ready to use. So now If the construction of the application is still in development, then customers or the partner people cannot access that because it's not yet deployed. It's in still implementation stage. It's in development stage. Like the same way here, when coming to that object, whatever the object that we are building right now, that object will be having the two statuses for the deployment. One is the in development, second one is the deployed. In development status means the table still we are working on that. I'm creating those table columns. Now I have created almost all the columns, but one column is there for which I need some clarification from the client side. So that here I have sent an email notification to my client that I need some clarification on this column. So please provide me the clarification so that I can complete that object creation. So now till that time, this object cannot be accessible by any user of my Salesforce organization. So that here I don't want to make this object to be accessible by the other people. So that here I'm going to be selecting that status as in development. Suppose for example, if the object has been getting created, table has been ready, now we can able to make it as deployed. Deployed status means object is ready to use. Object is ready to use. Nothing but the table has been created so that we can able to use this object to create some more records inside that. Now this is the 8th step. And the next step. So now we have to go to that additional options, features section. Inside that we will be having the two checkboxes are available. One is add notes and attachments related list to the object. So nothing but once you have created the object, if you want to add any attachments, like suppose for example, so now I'm having my profile. I want to apply for a job. Whenever you are applying for a job, then along with giving some information in terms of that email content, we have to add our profile also as an attachment. Then only they can able to get my profile and they can able to go through my profile and they will verify whether my profile is exactly suitable for the requirement or not. If it is suitable, they will be giving a call to us. Like the same way, for each and every record, if you want to add any attachment, then we can able to select that checkbox, add notes and attachments related list. Then only we can able to add some attachments along with those records. And the third one, and the most important feature is select the checkbox, launch a new custom tab wizard to add the tab after creating the custom object. Okay. After creating that custom object, in order to manage the records available inside that object, if you want to create some new records, if you want to modify, if you want to delete, if you want to view the records, for that, do you want me to create a tab or not? If you want me to create the tab, then select the checkbox, launch a new custom tab wizard after creating my custom object. Then automatically Salesforce will provide a new tab for that object. By using the tab, we can able to manage the records inside that. You may create, you may modify, you may delete, you may view all those records available inside that. And then, so now if you are not selecting this last checkbox, then tab will not be provided to you. At that time, we have to manage the record through programmatically itself. Now, so now sometimes while creating that object, you may forget to select this last checkbox also. Then at that time, how can we create that tab separately? We'll see in the tomorrow session. Now, the 10th option. We click on next button. Okay, click on next button. As soon as when you click on next button, now it will ask you to select the tab style. Select the tab style from the lookup icon. So now, whenever you are selecting the checkbox, okay, creating a custom launch, a custom tab wizard, at that time for the tab, what style that you want to apply. So for that, Salesforce is providing some set of ready-made styles to you, and then from those we can able to select any of the style which you want to apply for your object. And then after that, and then click on next button. And the next step, select the visible checkbox to make this object to be visible to all the profile users. And then
Firoz, the tab style is like the style sheet for the tab, or like what is the tab style?
yeah, the style sheets.
Okay.
See, for example, suppose for example, when you go to that campaigns, it is providing a separate image to you for the campaign. A background color is available to you. When you go to that leads, a different color and a different image is available. For the accounts, a different color, background color, a different image is available to you. For the contacts, a different color and a different image is there. For the opportunities, a different background color, a different image is available. Like that, Salesforce is giving so many tab styles to you. From those tab styles, we can select any of the tab style, depends upon your need, depends upon your requirement. So now we have to select the tab style which you want to apply for your object by using that lookup icon. And then we have to select, you have to make the tab to be get visible to all those profiles and click on save button. So now this is a navigation process to create a new custom object. Okay. So now here we have to follow these steps in order to create a new custom object inside that. So now in tomorrow's session, we are going to discuss about how to create this custom object, what it will provide to us, what are the fields given by the Salesforce by default to us, and how can we add some more fields inside that, how can we create the records, and how can we create an object without selecting the tab option. At that time, how can we create the tab separately?
Firoz, I have a question on the charter. Firoz, allowing charter groups. Can you? I did not get. Select the. What are the charter groups like?
See, when you go to the record, suppose for example, so now there is the lead person is there. Assume that open any of the lead record. So we are having a lead person, Kristen Akin. So now I'm a salesperson. I'm working on the lead. Now I have contacted the lead. Now the lead person is ready to buy the product if I'm offering 15% discount. But as a salesperson, I can able to offer up to 5% only, that is in my hand. If I need percentage, nothing but if you want to approve more than 5%, then I need to get the approval from my manager. Then generally what we can do, we are going to be sending an email notification to our sales manager that this is the lead person. Now he is ready to buy this many number of products, but he is expecting 15% discount. So at that time, what happened is, and then we have to send an email notification. Now my sales manager may be in leave, so that he may not be able to access my email notification, so that it will be taking some time to get the response. And then once he has sent the response to me, now I would like to convey the same information to my lead also, that my manager has been approved till 10%. So now nothing but we can able to offer maximum of 10% discount. But the lead person is not at all interested to buy my product with a 10% discount. Now finally he is expecting some 13% discount. Then the same I have to pass to my manager again. So nothing but this person is not at all interested with the 10%. He is expecting strictly 13%. So then manager will be taking some time. He will be giving some approval, or he will be giving some rejection also. Now at that time, the long mail chain will be getting happened between myself and my manager. So now at that time, instead of having that particular mail chain, we can able to have the charter posting also. When you open the lead card, here you will be having the charter posting options are available, like as a charter feed. Now, when you click on show feed, it will be giving the charter posting information. So now you can post the information whatever you want. Now I am going to be giving that information. Lead person is expecting Please understand this. So now, as soon as whenever I'm going to be sharing this information, just you can place that information which you want to share with your manager and then click on share. Now, as soon as whenever you are sharing this information will be getting visible to your manager automatically. Now your manager will be getting the charter posting and then he will be giving the comment on that. So that here you will be having the comment option inside that. You will be giving the comment. Now please go ahead. Okay, please go ahead.
So, like how the, I mean, like, is it only go to the manager? How are like rules set up this charter?
To configure the role hierarchy. When coming to the security, we'll see how can we configure that role hierarchy and how can we make our records to be get visible to the managers.
Oh, the charter feed. Okay.
Yes, yes. Why? Because if somebody asks you, like, why did you approve that 15% of discount? Then how can you show that mail proof? That mails may be available in my inbox. The mails maybe already have deleted those things. So at that time, if it is maintained inside the Salesforce instance, then everything we can able to track. Nothing but you can open that record. You will be having the entire mail proof is available. My manager has approved. He is the manager person who has approved based on during that time. So based on that, I have offered some 15% discount. Like that, we can able to show this.
So since we check the lead, that checkbox, that's why we, I mean, like, I mean, it's the that field is coming, right?
Yes, yes.
If I don't set the checkbox, if this won't come.
Yeah, even though if you did not select that checkbox, then it will not be displaying that option to you.
Okay.
Charter feed option will not be visible to you. If you don't want to charter feeding, then you can able to click on hide feed. Then you can able to get actual record information.
Oh, okay. And the same like the tasks, right? Since we, okay.
Yeah, task also you are having two ways. Here you are having the creating the new task. You can able to create the new events also.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So in tomorrow's session, we'll see how can we create these objects and how can we customize those objects, and we'll see practically in tomorrow's session.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.